And we are back for another podcast on the Friday edition of the On The Go Pod. Yes. I am your host, James Jackson, and another guy sitting next to me is...
Jacob D'Antone. Hello.
What's going on, Jacob?
Oh, nothing much. I still don't know how to answer this question. Don't know why.
I'm just going to stop saying it.
My brain just shuts down. Like, as soon as you ask, my brain's like, how am I doing?
You know, at this point, it's just a running gimmick. This is a running gimmick. Like, this is like Dick Van Dyke in the intro falling over the furniture all the time.
You know what it is? It's because we get together. We already have the how you doings.
Yeah.
And so this is just an extra how you doing for the show.
So what you mean is, so maybe when we start talking, when we start meeting up with each other, just don't say nothing.
Yeah, we just silently ride to the studio together.
We just don't say nothing. It's just like...
This is my brain's just like, we've already been through this, and I don't know. Whatever, man. I don't know. Anyway,
right. It's all good, man.
It's Friday. It's our pop culture edition, our pop culture show. We're gonna talk about pop culture-y things. We got a few things to talk about. James, you've seen the Marvels. Unfortunately, he says the Madam Web trailer.
Oof, I got some thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I have to defend, but
that's good.
You know,
that's good. I mean, look, I don't hate everything Sony has done, but we'll talk about that. Okay. We'll talk about that.
All right.
So how's everything? So life is good for you right now?
Yeah, life's been pretty good. It's been busy. You know,
Are you liking the pod?
Yeah, I am. I am liking this pod that I'm working on.
All right, that's what I like to hear. I tried to trip you up on that one.
I hate doing this.
I tried to trip you up.
You know what it is? I'm just constantly thinking about the quality of the show, and that's what's driving me crazy. And so sometimes I'll listen back to our recordings, and I'm like, does it sound the best it can be, or can it sound better? And that's just the loop I'm in. And I feel like no matter what, it's not sounding as good as I want it to. But then I remember I'm supposed to listen for things, and most people will passively listen, and so, or most people aren't like trained to
listen to any of that
handle stuff. Handle the audio or whatever. And so to everybody else it probably sounds fine, but to me it's never good enough.
No, because this is what you specialize in.
Yes.
So it's different. It's like a cook that specializes in cooking.
Right.
If you're a cook and you taste something that's out of place,
right,
it's like, oh, it doesn't taste good, but to the other person it tastes great.
Yeah. And, there's still a fair bit of imposter syndrome that I kind of struggle with sometimes because, it's just, it comes with any profession, right?
Like, I would hope so.
Yeah. Like in the beginnings, you just kind of feel like you don't belong. So every now and then it comes back and it just frustrates me. But
yeah, it happens for me too. Like sometimes I feel like, man, this is just, but it's made to make you want to give up. Mm-hmm. But I like I said, I'm very passionate about this. Right. About this podcast, and I'll never want to give up. I don't care how the quality sounds. I know next year the quality is going to be even better. Yeah. Most podcasts on qualities, it never is the best. Yeah. No matter how good you edit it and do all the trimmings and stuff on it, it's going to always sound a little funny. That is true. But the next year, it's usually, it's going to sound a lot better. Yeah. So, but you're a professional. Yeah. You're just a professional, and you want things to be right. So I'm happy with everything so far that we've done with this podcast. We're, so many episodes in right now, and we're getting better. Views are going up. I just want these Q&As to start coming in a little bit better. Yeah, because I think that'd be fun. Because I would like to start answering questions on some of these pods. Yeah, that'd be fun. Maybe I got to come up with better questions. I don't know. I guess so. Like I guess so. Because it'd be nice, like on certain days, if we don't have like a topic to talk about, we just spend the whole segment answering questions. Oh, see, that'd be cool. Yeah, if we ever get to that point, that'll be really fun to do. That'll be nice. But you guys got to go to that Q&A. Yeah, we know you're listening. Yeah, we see the views. We see the views. The numbers come up. Yeah, and don't be afraid to follow us as well. Yeah, follow, share, subscribe, do all the things. Yeah, do all those things. We're working hard out here. Yeah. Jacob is, is editing and putting out the profile pictures, slaving away on a hot laptop. Yeah, we're doing the best we can. So you guys make sure you keep listening. Yeah. The first Miss Marvel. Did you like it? Captain Marvel? Captain Marvel. I think I've only seen it the one time. Not because I don't want to see it again, but just because I think most of the MCU movies I've seen one time, really. Yeah, I think so. I don't think I've really rewatched too many of them. Wow. Other than like Iron Man, I'm assuming. Outside of the Avengers movies and the original Iron Man's,
The Spider-Mans, I think I've seen Far From Home and No Way Home a couple times. I think I've also seen them all twice or whatever. But yeah, everything else is just kind of like a one and done.
So when you first saw the Captain Marvel movie, what did you think of it? If you can remember.
I'm trying to remember my thoughts.
Because it made a lot of money.
It did. I thought it was decent. I believe. I really don't know how I felt about it, honestly.
Because the first Captain Marvel movie, as we know, grossed over was like one of their highest grossing Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Now we do understand why though, right? Because Infinity War, at the end credits, it pointed out
Captain Marvel. So you had that, and then Captain Marvel was supposed to be this like big awesome character that was going to come in at the end. Everyone seemed to think that she was going to come in at the very end of Endgame and just destroy Thanos.
Oh, we all thought so. That's why we saw Captain Marvel,
because they had set her up like that, and then she didn't. And I've stated before, they set her up kind of like she doesn't really care about Earth, and obviously she is a comic book hero, so there's reasons why. Yeah, I don't know. They just haven't done much with.
They really haven't. They really haven't. So when you get to the Marvels, you got Monica Rambeau,
right,
and you got Kamala Khan,
right.
Miss Marvel. Did you like the Miss Marvel show?
I thought it was well done.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I was like a fan of the character, but
Me
also
either.
It was made for a different age group.
Obviously, yeah.
It's not
like teenage girls.
It wasn't bad. None of this stuff is like really bad.
No, the show wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
I heard some criticisms about it, but that was just all toxic stuff. But for the most part, I thought the show was good. Yeah, like I said, it wasn't for me.
Right.
It was obviously made for another age bracket. So when you come into this movie, you already know the characters are already in place.
Mm-hmm.
Pieces are already in place. The movie starts off very chaotic. As we know, the body switching. There's something going on between Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, and Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
So, you got that taking place. Then you got Nick Fury who's thrown in. We haven't seen him since Secret Invasion.
Right.
I don't know whether this movie took place before or after, because
they don't really go into it.
And that's one of my big gripes already starting off from the bat.
Right, because I feel like Secret Invasion was one of the things leading up to Captain Marvel, the Marvels.
Yeah.
Because, okay, cool. Like, what's going on with Nick Fury after all this?
Yeah, after Endgame and all the snap and everything.
Yeah.
And they never showed you what led on from the events of Secret Invasion, which really just narrowed my mind. First of all, the movie's like an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah. So they said it was the shortest one?
Yeah. I told you going in, because you was like, oh, I hope they show this and show that.
Mm-hmm.
I like, Jake, it was only an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can show with an hour and 45 minutes. You have to get to some type of story.
Yeah.
And the same thing about it is, there was no story with this film.
Okay.
There just really wasn't. You had an unforgettable villain who couldn't tell you why she's being a villain. She's avenging something, but you don't know what that something is. If you keep watching the film, it's like, really? The sun is taking up, you trying to take down the sun because this is ruining the planet. It's just, it's confusing. Yeah. I defy anybody to tell me what was the plot of this film other than the three women switching bodies, because of cosmic play. It'll probably kind of like a play on what you call that movie with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis,
Freaky
Friday. It was supposed to have like a spin on that a little bit.
Yeah,
and I was just like, oh man. So the movie starts off so chaotic. They're switching bodies. They're messing up Kamala Khan's house, her parents' house, and then it calms down. And for the 20 minutes, you get to see the chemistry between these three ladies.
Yeah.
And that was actually good.
Yeah.
That was the good part of the film.
Right.
That was the real goodness that you really liked about it.
Yeah.
But then it goes to another place again, to another silly point. And I don't know how many times we got to keep talking about Marvel and being silly and goofy. It's like, can you just tone it down just a tad bit? I'm not saying you have to be serious all the time. I'm not saying you got to go, what's that, Zack Snyder serious?
Yeah.
But can you just tone it down? And just, because when you're that goofy and that silly in these movies, it takes away from the actual sadness of a movie or that moment of sadness because you had to put in this sad part. And that's what takes away from the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So then you had that, and then you have these two gimmicky scenes in the movie where I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so that's why I'm not going to tell it.
All right.
But there is like two scenes in this movie that is just like, why? You did not need this. You did not need this. It would have been nice if you would not have done this in the film. You could have changed things up just a tad bit. Like, there's a story there to be had.
Yeah.
but they don't do it well. And we talked about this. I don't know whether it's the writing. I don't know whether it's the director. Like, I don't know who to blame for this anymore because we just had a writer strike and we see how important writers are.
Right.
So I don't want to just accuse them.
Right. And this was written before that strike, so you can't blame it on the strike either.
No, you can't. Well, yeah, I'm not blaming it on them, but I was just like, I don't want to always take a crap on writers. That's what I'm saying.
Right. And, the important thing to remember with like the movie making process is like the writers, the directors, they're not the be all end all of the film. There's executives, there's producers,
of course.
There's investors who put time and money and stuff into these products because they're movies and they're entertainment, but at the end of the day, they are products.
But they wasn't doing this before. The quality of these movies have went down.
You're right. And I think some of that is also just like hubris of Marvel and Disney. Is just like, you get so big to where you get to a point where like, you know what? We don't have to try as hard.
So you got arrogant.
Yes. And
that's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the thing too, is just where it's just like, like, hey, you don't have to do as much or whatever because we're gonna make $1 billion off this movie anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
They had started doing that before Endgame came out. They started doing this a while back, and people were just blind to it because they were still successful enough and like the stories were still good enough to where people just kind of like overlook things.
They overlook it, yeah.
And I mean, I was saying it from like way back. I was like, no, Marvel's getting lazy.
You got labeled as a hater. I know you did.
Yeah, and and I did enjoy Endgame and I did enjoy Infinity War. You're right. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like they were all bad, but there's a lot of plot points in the MCU that have been dropped and forgotten about and just over like whatever. And like, yeah, you can defend it and you can say like, oh, well, it's such a big story and blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, you can, but
there's some plot points missed. Like, well, those two movies were more of celebration movies.
Yeah,
but when you have movies like the Marvels, you're expecting a contained story,
right?
And this movie just was not contained at all. They just missed the marks on so many things. Like, it was there, everything that they needed to make this movie good. It was in there. Like, the ingredients were there. Yeah. They just didn't do it.
Well, so. I mean, the problem with that is just because like these movies are no longer, like you said, they're no longer singular stories. They are all very tiny puzzle pieces in a giant puzzle, and the puzzle is getting bigger and bigger and more confusing.
Yep.
There's too many edge pieces. I don't know.
Way too many.
But like, so if you look at the original Phase 1 and how those movies were, you had Iron Man, you had Thor, you had even the Incredible Hulk, because that's also a Phase 1 movie.
It was.
Captain America, the first Captain America. You had all these movies. And they had subtle references to each other.
To a bigger plan.
And to certain characters and the bigger things. But they weren't overshadowing the plots of the movies, right? So, I mean, even Iron Man 2, where you had Nick Fury and I almost said
Scarlett Johansson.
Black Widow in it. It still didn't take away the fact that it was Iron Man 2. Now, when they do one of these movies, yeah, it's Thor 4, but now Thor is going on an adventure with these other characters that are really going to be set up for other movies, and we're going to focus on them. And Thor 4 is not really like that. I'm just using Thor 4 as an example. As an example. The Marvels is a better example, obviously, because it's Captain Marvel's sequel, but you have Kamala Khan and you have Photon, and
so like if you just watched the first Captain Marvel movie and then you watch this one and you didn't watch Endgame or Infinity War, they're totally two different movies,
right?
And it's like it shouldn't be that way, but at the same time, where has this character been? They don't explore enough with the character of Captain Marvel, which is the problem.
No, she's just been in and out of the movies for half a decade.
And that's what I was hoping they would do with this movie, but they didn't explore anything.
I didn't expect them to because you had two other leads.
And I always hate that. Yeah. I always hate when you have to do that.
Yeah. And that's a mistake they almost made with Blade again. Because you said they were going to do the four leads.
The 4 leads. But three women, I'm sorry. Yeah.
But now they're rewriting that and they're pushing it back or whatever. And I think you're right. I think I saw an article about Mahershala Ali is just about to walk out.
Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure if he's going to walk out again if they don't get it together.
Yeah.
So, man, this Marvel movie is just another miss.
Yeah.
It's another miss. This is the lowest one. I think it made like $47 million this weekend.
That's what I had heard.
Last weekend anyway.
But sometimes the money doesn't exactly mean it's a bad movie. So
but when you're doing
for Marvel, it's bad for
this is bad.
It's bad for Marvel, but the money numbers shouldn't.
Well, it shouldn't be a factor. Well, it shouldn't be a factor, Jacob. But when you're doing a movie like that's like a $300 million budget film.
Yeah.
And you only making back $47 million. That's a problem.
No, that's true.
You know, and the budget for this film, I think, was like about $200 million.
Right. And now some of that can be because the marketing
was non-existent. There was no marketing.
Because the writer's strike and all that stuff. So some of that does have to do with it. It's not just that they're missing the mark, but their quality is.
Oh, the quality went down. And like I say, it was more self-evident. And like I said, it was this guy that was there. He's like, Marvel doesn't need this. Yeah. Like this is one thing that Marvel, especially after that whole Variety article, they didn't need this type of heat.
Yeah.
And now this is even more heat that's ratcheted up times 10. And I hate that so much. So, Aquaman, tag me in because Aquaman's coming on in, and that's gonna be a disaster too as well. I just want to finish out this year.
My prediction is, eventually Marvel's just gonna be like, hey, those movies that didn't do so well, they're not set in our canon universe anymore. They're gonna be a different universe because now we have multiverses, and so the Marvels, while it does deal with interdimensional travel, is eventually just gonna be like, oh, that's a different universe. That's not actually Captain Marvel from Endgame. That's Captain Marvel and Kamala Khan and all that from like a universe slightly like this one. I feel like that's what's gonna happen because Marvel, they have swept stuff under the rug before. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. used to be canon, and then they decanoned it. And Humans was supposed to be canon. That was a horrible experience. So they decanoned that. There's some other properties they have that are just like there but not there. The Netflix shows, they were sort of canon, and then now they're not canon at all.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with you if I knew that Marvel could do that. But they don't have enough, there's nothing that tells me that they have the level of, being able to do that.
Yeah.
Let's go. When Kevin Feige did that stuff and they swept a lot of stuff, all that stuff you said, they were on the apex.
Yeah.
It was already understood.
Yeah.
You can't do that now.
No.
You totally messed that up now.
Yeah.
And those last end credit scenes has even furthermore has messed that up even more.
I mean, it really feels like the end credit scenes are just kind of confusing everything.
Oh, they're always confusing, and I'm kind of getting tired of them now because it's like, I know what you guys are doing. Like, just stop it. Like, you're pandering now, and like I said, the end credit scene for the Marvels. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. It's like we knew it was coming.
Yeah,
it's not a bad movie. It's just it's a mad movie. Marvel doesn't need this type of heat right now, and I really am hoping. I think next year they only got 2 or 3 movies next year, superhero wise. So I think it should kind of be kept that way.
Yeah,
like I think everyone needs a break to just kind of recharge from a lot of stuff that's been going on this year. Yeah, and from superhero and big blockbuster movies as a whole. Yeah, so I think everyone needs to recharge from that. I think next year Deadpool comes out for sure, and I think Joker comes out. I think it's another comic book movie too, which I think is a movie that we're about to talk about. But I think there's one more comic book movie coming out. So, we need a break. We need a break. 2025 is front loaded with nothing but comic book movies. So I'm curious on how that's gonna work. But yeah, man, it was an okay movie. It was an okay movie. So if you're thinking about taking Khadijah to go see it,
I mean, we'll probably see it because I don't think we've missed one in theaters.
Yeah,
it's the thing now. We just go see the movie.
Some people might like it. Yeah. Some people might like it. And I heard some things, it's been 50-50 on both sides with this movie.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been like totally terrible.
Yeah.
But for the quality standpoint, nah.
I got you.
So yeah, that's my review for Ms. Marvels. Oh, I'm sorry, The Marvels. I don't want to keep calling it Ms. Marvels.
It's confusing.
Also, Kamala Khan, she's pretty good in this movie.
Oh yeah.
She saved this movie.
Okay, good.
She saved it.
Yeah. Last little good tidbit at the end. You go. I like that. All right. Yeah.
When Sony first decided that they wanted to do movies based on Spider-Man villains or Rogues Gallery, I was always like, okay, why? And they did Venom. Venom was surprisingly good.
Yes.
I like Venom. I like Venom a lot. And then they decided to do Morbius. And I was like, okay. Now, we do know Morbius is a vampire film. You couldn't make it rated R. Made it PG-13.
Yeah.
Went through a lot of reshoots. And we know it was all like a multiverse type deal. And that was nowhere near further explained. Now, you want to talk about sweeping under the rug. That was swept under the rug.
Yeah.
And that was just number of confusion swept under the rug.
I have a conspiracy about that movie.
Okay, if you say so. If you say so, Jacob. And then, now they make, Venom 2. I was like, okay. They went backwards even just for them because the first Venom was good. And even Venom fans were like, why did y'all switch up from the first tone to the second tone of this movie? So that was a disaster. Then they're doing Craven, and now they're doing Madam Web. The first tidbit of this trailer, it was a teaser. It looks very fan-made.
It's long for a teaser.
Yeah, well, that's the way it is now. Teasers are becoming like 2 minutes.
Pretty much
Some of them are being like maybe like 50 seconds, but a lot of them are like 2 minutes now.
Yeah.
I thought the trailer was a fan-made trailer. I didn't think it was real. They don't give you a lot in terms of story. They show you they show you most of the characters, not all of them. They show you Victor Sims.
Mm-hmm.
Ezekiel
Sims.
Yeah, Vigo. Is it Vigo?
Ezekiel Sims.
I'm sorry, Vigo. Ezekiel Sims. And he has like this fake Spider-Man costume, which I'm curious about that. I'm very, very curious about that one. I know, so I already saw some people online saying it kind of looks like a CW costume from the Arrow. I was like, okay, that got me a little chuckle out of it. But I don't know, man. It just I just continue to wonder why Sony wants to keep doing these movies. There has to be a certain reason. Like, if you want to do Rose Gallery Spider-Man, cool. But the whole point of Spider-Man is his villain. It is him.
Yeah.
And if you can't use that character, and you should never gave it to Disney. You should never let him partner up with Disney. You should have just took Spider-Man and said, "This is our guy.
Right.
You can't have him."
Right.
Now, if you want to do that and then still do the Rogues Gallery of villains, I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Even though Madam Web's not a villain, but if you want to do these long stories, then I would have been okay with it because you still got Spider-Man in your universe.
Yeah.
But with this, they're creating something different, and I'm just like, stop it. Just stop it. And it's like, save yourself the further embarrassment. You got Craven coming out next year. That looks okay. At least it's rated R.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you're at least going according to that. You got Aaron Taylor Johnson who's playing Craven, who looks, I ain't gonna lie, he looks badass.
Yeah.
He looks badass in the poster.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is I think he's a great character actor.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, some of his most recent roles have been really good.
I liked him in Bullet Train.
Bullet Train, he was good. He was in Tenet. You didn't even recognize him in Tenet.
Yeah, he was in Tenet. Yeah, he was in Tenet.
He's been in a few other movies where it's like, oh, crap, that's Aaron Taylor Johnson. Okay. Like, I think he's a good character actor. I mean, obviously in Craven, he still looks like himself, but...
like I said, the trailer it was okay. I'm going in with mild expectations. Am I going to watch it? Yes. Yeah. Obviously, because I want to review it. I want to have something to talk about with this film. I don't want to just sit up here and bash Sony and bash this film and not have anything to talk about of any substance. But for me, I'm taking everything with caution now. It's like going into a kitchen and there's those knives on the floor, which I don't know why there would be knives on the floor, but hey, you never know. If you live with a crazy woman, you'll see sometime. Yeah. So it's like, I'm just going in very, very cautious. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. As a whole, I think the costumes looked okay. I didn't think they looked that bad.
They didn't really show him a whole lot.
They didn't really show him a whole lot, but from what I saw.
And from what we know about first trailers or teasers or whatever, the movie's rarely ever finished.
Yeah, it's rarely ever finished.
And so I do agree with you on the fan-made look, because I did notice that too. Something about the coloring or the filtering or whatever they used in those, especially the first couple scenes. Yeah. Something did feel off. And I mean, we've seen this before with like first trailers anyway. There's always like weird CGI or like weird looking stuff in the first trailer for movies, and then it gets better, right? Sometimes. So
like I said, I'm going in, I'm hoping that this movie will be good. I don't know. I don't have the answers. Sony got the questions. So hopefully we can Sony got the answers. So I got a lot of questions. So hopefully this movie is somewhat good. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it achieves the expectations of the first Venom movie. And I hope they got a hit. But was I excited about the trailer? No. You got it, sir.
Fair enough. Okay. I have to be in Sony's court. I have to support them on all the Spider things they do. Not only because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, but just because this goes all the way back to after Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out. Amazing Spider-Man 2 was like one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. I think it was a great movie. I think it was good. I think it was like what they were setting up was great. I think it was really ballsy to do the Gwen Stacy death.
It was.
It was really ballsy. MCU would never have done that.
Probably not.
And honestly, they still haven't really done permanent deaths.
I don't think they ever will.
You know, outside of Black Widow. And even then, they brought her back for a movie afterwards. Anyway, I think it was really ballsy what they did. And granted, yeah, it does have flaws. I'm not, you know.
A lot of flaws.
All movies have their flaws. But I think what they were setting up was good. I was excited to see the next one. So much excitement around that movie. And then everyone just like crapped on it so hard for so long. And we never got the third one. Cut to Sony making the deal with MCU to put Spider-Man in their thing. And
worst deal they ever did.
Yeah, I think so. Because look, Spider-Man Homecoming is not good to me.
No, I mean, see, I like Spider-Man Homecoming. But the thing about it is, if Sony, I know why they made the deal with Disney. I get it. It was about money.
Right. The way they made Peter and Spider-Man Homecoming bothered me. What did get me is the 6 villains, or 6 or 7 villains they had in there. That really impressed me. I was like, okay, cool. You have Vulture, you got Scorpion, you got 2 Shockers, Tinkerer. Great setup. Enjoyed that. I just hate it how they made Peter in that movie for Tony Stark. You know what I mean? He was just like, it's like this annoying little puppy dog.
He was more like Robin the Batman.
Yes. And that's not the Spider-Man story. The Spider-Man is like,
well, a lot of this stuff doesn't come until late.
I know. And
they brought it in early instead.
Right. And unfortunately, I don't know if we're really going to get like a MCU Spider-Man for a while.
Not for a while, because Tom Holland's he's busy doing real films.
Right. And they keep hinting at like, oh, he's going to show up in Secret Wars and be a main thing. Like, is he? Is there talks? Yeah. Is Secret Wars even happening still? We don't like what's happening there's a
whole bunch of stuff we don't know.
And there's so many different MCU characters, and now you're doing X-Men and Fantastic Four. Like, we're going to get a Spider-Man film every like 6 years at this point, and Tom Holland's going to be like 45 by the time he gets the... You know,
the one thing I will say I did like with the MCU Spider-Man, it played a little bit more into how smart this kid was, because none of the Sonys really did that. That I will say.
You're right, but I still feel like they didn't show it enough.
Probably not.
You know what I mean? Because he also still had access to like all the Stark stuff. Yeah. You know, there was never like he made his own thing. Like, true. Okay, in Homecoming, when Tony takes his suit away, that would have been perfect for him to actually just remake that suit himself instead of doing the hoodie suit he had. Yeah,
because he waited till like the last movie to finally make his homemade suit.
Yeah, and that suit looks fantastic. And
it looks great.
You see it for 30 seconds.
Yep.
And you don't even see it like, see it. It's just in motion the whole time.
Yeah, because he's flying through, he's swinging through the town.
It's a cool scene, and it's a cool suit, but that's the last time we're ever going to see that suit. We're probably not going to get that live action suit again.
Probably not.
You know?
If we do, it's going to be a long time.
Right.
Like you said, he's going to be 30 years old by the time we get it.
The MCU trilogy of Spider-Man was just like an extended origin story for him. And I mean, look, I loved Far From Home, loved Mysterio and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. No Way Home. Oh, it's so all the damn home titles. I love.
Okay, I see you're not a big fan.
They just get confusing. No Way Home was great. Far From Home was awesome, fan service, and you know, like you said, it kind of wrapped up everybody's story. But then after that movie came out, guess what? Everybody freaking wanted. Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield. Where were you in 2014? But no, now you want to come back to the fan base and be like, "Oh, we want this." What do you?
Well, I get what you're saying. And I know everybody's probably like, "Damn, we going completely away from the Madam Web trailer." We're getting
there. We're getting there.
We're getting there, but we're trying to tell the whole base.
I'm telling my origins.
Yeah, the whole origins of this. And I get what you're saying, because I say that a lot about DC sometimes when people complain about Superman,
right,
and Henry Cavill. But I think at the same time, people loved Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man itself.
Right.
They just didn't like the story of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
And that's fair.
And that was the deal.
But I don't know, stick with it.
But at the same time, Sony decided they wanted the money. Like I'm going to keep saying it. They wanted money. They didn't care about the fans or anything else. Even if Amazing Spider-Man would have succeeded, they still would have sold it to Disney.
You know what? You're probably right. And that's the unfortunate truth is like a lot of these movie companies, it's all money.
It's all money.
All these movies are all money.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, at a certain point, it's all about money and franchises. And, you know, we get some good stuff every now and then, but that's a lot of the reason why we get a bunch of trash.
Exactly.
You know, or like, you know, we get a movie and then you watch the movie and then you forget about it
all the time,
and that's why. You know, it's like very rarely nowadays I find where a movie really like sticks with me as much as they used to.
Because it's very much true.
You know,
that's very much true.
But anyway, back to my point. So I don't know. I'm in Sony's court. I really liked what they did with Venom. You're right. Venom 2 had some weirdness. I really like what they're doing with Kraven. I'm not gonna say they don't have flaws. You know, I'm not gonna be like they're the perfect thing. No, because that's also hypocritical because I'm always calling out MCU, but I also enjoy some MCU. So I don't know. I like where Madam Web the direction is going. I like the idea that there's like an evil version of, or an evil Spider-Man type character in this movie. I think that's different. I think it's cool. The Final Destination vibe has me kind of curious, like her kind of time traveling or like dying and whatever. That's interesting because I don't know, like Madam Web. I don't know much about her. I just know her from the animated series.
Animated series, like most people do,
right?
For the most part.
And it just seems like she just kind of exists in the ether,
only because of the animated series,
right? And I don't know. There's like psychic stuff, and there's all kinds.
She predict the future,
right?
I think the reason why you like Sony so much is because they're taking big swings. They're being bold. They're doing things that MCU would have never done.
Yeah,
would never do.
And you're right, and that's part of it. Because
that's the main thing.
MCU got real cookie cutter.
Yeah,
they kind of stopped taking risks, and every now and then they'll take a risk, and it pays off.
And DC's too stupid enough to do it.
DC does it every other movie, right? Like,
yeah, they do it every other movie.
But Sony's just like, hey, look, this is what we're doing, and this is what we're setting up, and we're sticking to it. And I want to trust the process. I want to see where this goes. Now, the El Muerte movie they had coming had me a little weird. I was like, why are you gonna do this? You're gonna do this character? The 2 issue? They dropped that one real quick.
Oh, they dropped it real quick.
Which again, all right, cool. Sony, good.
I would have been on you.
You came to your senses.
I would have been on you.
I don't know if I could have supported that one.
There you go.
I'll be with you on that one. I was like, I don't know. Madam Web sounds cool, but the El Muerte, I don't know what we're doing here.
No, come on, man. You can't do that now.
So yeah, I'm excited for the movie. And you're right. We'll go see it and we'll kind of judge it and determine it or whatever. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah. I don't know, but it is interesting. They're taking it a different direction, and you know, you're right. It would be nice if they would stop kind of alluding to Spider-Man. You know,
that was the main flaw that really pissed off fans. It really pissed off Sony.
You're right, and I was a little surprised because I thought like the set photos of the guy in the Spider-Man costume. I thought we were like, oh cool,
we're Spider-Man.
I thought we were just getting a Spider-Man, which had me kind of excited because again, that goes along with what I've been saying before. Is like just do a movie with someone playing these characters, and then
Miles Morales is the easiest one.
Miles Morales would be the easiest one, but they're also doing that whole animated thing with him, so maybe that's why they don't want to do the live action yet. Because I feel like if you do a live action Miles Morales, are you just going to do the same like story? True. Are you gonna set him up the same way, or what are you gonna do? You know, a friend of mine had mentioned like do an older Miles. You know, if you're gonna bring him into live action, do an older Miles and like.
I wouldn't mind seeing it. I just don't want to keep seeing references to Spider-Man. Which Spider-Man? Fans are like, is this Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire universe? Like no one knows, and you're confusing people more and more. Right. And that's why I really have a problem with this universe.
I think on the back end they're trying to figure that out. I think they're trying to work out what they're gonna do and who they're gonna use. It gets confusing and.
It's very confusing because it's like and Morbius was the main catalyst for this.
Well, this brings me to my conspiracy theory about Morbius. So Morbius had all kinds of reshoots. They were shooting that around the same time that MCU was shooting
Doctor Strange,
No Way Home.
Well, yeah, No Way Home, yeah.
They were shooting it around the same time. But the thing is, Sony was like, hey, like we know you're doing the whole multiple universes saying like you're having Toby and Andrew come in, like we're doing this Morbius movie. Where does this fit in? Like Sony was trying to work with them. MCU wouldn't let them see the script for No Way Home.
I know about that
at all whatsoever. So I think there's an entirely different movie for Morbius.
That probably. We all know there's a new story. That was a story out there. Right. Tyrese had a bigger role in that movie than he ever.
Right, because he's like a whole comic character with like a bionic arm.
Yeah, with a bionic arm. Yeah, so he had a whole story in there too.
There's that. There's like in the trailers they were alluding to Spider-Man and it looked like Tobey's Spider-Man. So I think Sony had a bigger plan for this, and then MCU didn't want to play nice with them and kind of like, hey, this is what we're doing.
Whose fault was that? Whose fault was that? It's like, come on, man. It's like you got to know what you're dealing with whenever you seek out money, whenever you're so blood hungry and thirsty for her money. These are the type of repercussions that you get.
That's true, but you can make money together. You know what I mean? Like,
you can, but I mean, MCU at that time, it was like, we don't really need you.
Well, now they might.
They might, but at the same time, they really still don't.
Yeah.
You know, because their most important characters, they have.
Yeah.
They really don't need Kraven.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be cool to see Kraven in MCU, but you really don't need him. And you really, and this Madam Web film is just something they just want to make. It's not. I don't think it even leads anything. Like, from what we know, the synopsis of this film, you know, forgetting about the teaser trailer, Madam Web and these other Spider Women are supposed to protect Peter Parker's parents from Ezekiel. What's his name? Ezekiel
Sims.
Ezekiel Sims.
Yeah.
So he's trying to stop Peter Parker from being born, which actually is a good story.
No, it is.
It's a Terminator story.
And it seems like they're kind of giving him kind of like an ability like the vampire characters from the Spider-Verse comics, like the Morlun and all them.
Yeah.
Because there's a scene where he grabs one of them and it looks like he's like sucking the life out of her because there's like some stuff happening with her face or whatever. So again, I kind of wonder if they're trying to allude to like those entities. Because Ezekiel Sims was injected with like the original Spider-Man totem or whatever.
I was about to say that.
So he's got connections with like the whole web and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It is an interesting story with them trying to protect.
If that's the story, then you might have won me over.
Right.
Because that's actually kind of cool.
You know, my thing would be, and I think it's loosely set in the early 2000s, supposedly.
Which they do no good job of hitting that.
But again, teaser, right? So I think there's like a Palm Pilot ad on a taxi in one of the scenes. But what would be kind of interesting is if the Peter they're trying to protect is Toby, like Toby's Peter.
You know, like I say, if that's true, I mean, if that's one way they want to look at it, cool. Like I said, I'm gonna wait for judgment till I see another trailer, get a real trailer for it, and hopefully that's the actual synopsis of the film and that's the plot of the film. I really do, because if it's not, they would have screwed themselves over again. Yeah, this could be another Morbius issue. I really hope that's the storyline, Jacob. I'm really not playing. Like that needs to be the better storyline, in my opinion. And him just hunting down other Spider Women.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, from when I saw the outfits, they look great. They look cool to me.
I was surprised to see that.
I was surprised to see that.
I didn't think we were going to get other Spider people besides this one Spider-Man.
Yeah, and they were pretty comic book accurate.
No, they were. They were. So, I mean, I don't know. It's so hard because Sony's behind the gun no matter what. Or behind the line or whatever the phrase is. Like
you're right, behind the gun.
Like they're
behind
already...
the 8-ball.
Yeah, I mean, they're always behind. And the thing is, too, is like the MCU fans are so rabid. That like whatever they put out is just automatically going to get crapped on by them.
Well, it's not only just MCU fans, it's comic book fans, period.
Well, it's kind of, yeah, you're right. And it's just, nobody wants to give anything a chance.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help too when you've had Birds of Prey, 3 female women. You've had Miss Marvel, the Marvels. We just got to do a review for 3 women. So you have that toxic nerdum out there as well that don't want to give this movie a chance. Yeah. So it's just kind of like, it leaves it up in the wind.
Yeah. But what do you do? If you want to do films with women protagonists, do you just not do it because like everyone's going to complain?
True.
Like how do you combat that? Which you can't stop people from being awful towards, women characters.
Which my complaints have always been, it's not always, I could care less if it was a person of a homosexuality nature, a black person, a gay person. I mean, a gay person, I just said that. Anybody, a woman, it doesn't matter. I just want the film to be good.
You're right.
And that's my main problem with Sony. The quality of the films haven't been good because they don't make any sense. Yeah. It doesn't matter who the leads are. Yeah. So I don't pay attention to those people. Those people are losers. But I just want the film to be good from the standpoint of tell a good story. Yeah. And just don't just do something because you just wanted to do it. Because it's not a movie that anyone asked for. And that's where my main complaints come in the movie. But, anyway, like I say, man, that's how I felt about it. And obviously you feel somewhat positive about it.
Man, honestly, I'm just at a point where I just want to enjoy things.
I do too.
I just want to like stuff. I
I just want quality of movies to come back.
Even if I don't like it, I just want to find something good out of it because I just feel like there's so much negativity and crap in the.
Well, you sound just like my man Coy from Real Rejects. Like, I get what you guys are coming from.
There is though.
I do.
Like it's just it's hard to enjoy something and then everyone just craps on it.
Well, part of that too is because comic book movies have become such a norm now, and that back in the day that was not the norm.
Yeah.
So you only got 2 or 3 movies a year in the summertime. When you get so much of something every single time and it's revamped more and more, you're gonna get this type of stuff, and you're gonna get this type of fandom. And unfortunately, it's just the way. And it's not only with comic books. You have Star Wars, you have Lord of the Rings, you have any type of fandom. And like I said, you just have to look for the little things in movies to watch. Like I said, you got Netflix, The Killer with David Fincher. One of the best movies I've seen all year round. Yeah. Michael Fassbender is amazing in this film. He is absolutely amazing. He is just dope in this film. It's a better action film than I've seen out of John Wick and Equalizer. Yeah. So you just got to find the quality of the films that suit you. And in my opinion, I am getting a little comic book fatigued. Yeah, of course. I'm even getting kind of tired of talking about it even on the pod. But we have to because it's a very important type of deal to talk about. Yeah. Because I still love comic book movies, but it's just a certain point where I'm just like, man, it's just they just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So, yeah, like I said, we'll judge it when the movie comes out and when the trailer comes out, and we'll have a review ready for you. Wile E. Coyote versus Acme?
Yeah, Wile E. Coyote versus Acme.
Which I was really amped to see, by the way.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool concept. I don't know. There's a lot of weirdness with why Warner Brothers decided to do it, like to try to shelve it and just kind of blow it off, even though it's like 90% done or was done.
Yeah, it was done. It was done. The screening for it was positive.
Yeah, all the things have been. Also, it's Looney Tunes. Warner Brothers and Looney Tunes goes together.
Like ham and cheese.
I think that's what blew me away. Like, you're gonna shelve this?
Of all the things to shelve, you shelve this.
It's like that's your staple.
That's you should do was shelve that damn Space Jam movie that y'all did with LeBron.
Right.
That was trash.
Yeah, I don't know. It just surprised me, and it just seems so bizarre. So I found this article earlier. We don't really get into politics, but this is like kind of political, I guess, in the scheme of things. But
it's gonna happen sometimes.
So Texas Representative Joaquin Castro has actually called for the Justice Department and Federal Trade Commission to look into whether the studio had violated some antitrust guidelines and a tax write-off plan for this movie, because he felt like it was predatory and anti-competitive that they finished this movie and then decided not to put it out so they can write it off on their taxes, because they did that with Batgirl and the Scooby sequel. So the quote is, "The WBD tactic of scrapping fully made films for tax breaks is predatory and anti-competitive. As the Justice Department and FTC revise their antitrust guidelines, they should review this conduct. As someone remarked, it's like burning down a building for the insurance money." So
that's the point.
No, I thought that was interesting because I didn't consider that before when I heard they had shelved it. I thought Warner Brothers was just doing what they did last year. You know, when David Zaslav took over, you know, after the writer's strike, they were like, all right, let's put this on the back burner. Yeah, I mean, if they did it for tax purposes, that's kind of...
Well, I mean, they've been losing money. Warner Bros. Have been losing money.
But they have.
So, part has been doing the comic book movies, but you have to talk about that.
You know, as much as people like say Marvel's MCU is going down the toilet, Warner Brothers is also going down the same toilet.
I'm sorry, they've been going through the same BS way before MCU has. Yeah. MCU's finally catched up to DC now.
Yeah, because they've been riding the high, and now
Warner Brothers anyway.
Yeah,
but they did do pretty good with Oppenheimer and Barbie. Oppenheimer and Barbie saved their bacon this year.
Well, one of those movies, because the other one was Universal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was. But Barbie saved his bacon. Barbie saved Warner Brothers' bacon. But I mean, look, I thought the concept for the movie was actually good. You know, Wile E. Coyote suing Acme because none of the inventions never worked. Yeah, that he tries to kill Roadrunner. Yeah. So I thought that was cool. I really wanted to see that in theaters. Right. And you know, also too was an outcry from filmmakers, and they were like, "Hey, you guys need to do something with this film. You can't shelve another film."
Well, because also it's like you got it 90% done. Yeah. What about all the people who worked
all
on
the people that worked
Are
on
they
it? All
not
the
going to get paid
animators.
for it? Is it all just going to go down the drain?
They don't get anything from this.
That was a big thing with this article. Is like they were making the comment. They were like, a lot of people put time and effort into this. Like, they need compensation. You can't just make a movie and decide not to put it out. It's understandable if, like, hey, we made this movie and we can't get somebody to pick it up. But it's Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers, it's your property.
And that's why they changed their mind. That's why Warner Brothers changed their mind.
Now,
it was like, hey.
Yeah, and now they're trying to sell it. Sorry.
No, you good.
And now they're trying to sell it to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But also that feels weird because, again, Warner Brothers, you're going to give somebody else Looney Tunes?
Well, technically, they've been kind of doing that anyway. Because since David Zaslav with the HBO Max deal now, he's giving away a lot of his properties. They're giving away a lot of the property. Netflix has a lot of DC property.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Amazon Prime has some Warner Brothers property. They got Merry Little Batman that's coming out on December 8th.
I thought that was also coming out on HBO.
Yeah, it might be, but
like
I think for the most part it's on Amazon Prime, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they'll probably be the best place to put this. Probably on Amazon Prime if they can kind of get it. Maybe Apple.
Yeah.
Maybe Apple probably, because there's a lot of bidders that want it. There's a lot of bidders that want it because it's gonna do good streaming wise.
Yeah.
Because with all the hype that's around it, and then you guys tried to shelve it, they definitely want it.
Yeah.
But I am getting a little worried about David Zaslav. When he first came in, I was okay with some of the stuff that he canceled. I was like, okay, Batgirl, I don't like it, but I understand.
Right.
You know, he had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
You know, that was AT&T.
Yeah.
Wonder Twins. Who wanted to see that?
Yeah.
That was in development. And a lot of stuff he canceled was mostly in development.
Right.
Scoob. I can say Scoob. I didn't really care for the first one. My niece didn't care for it. My son didn't care for it. So I don't understand why that was even being greenlit anyway. That just goes to show you how bad Warner Brothers have been for a long time.
Yeah.
So David Zaslav inherited a messed up situation. But I do know him as being very cheap. And that is the problem that I'm worried about. He's cheap for documentaries and reality shows.
I mean, you can't.
And that's the part that I'm scared of.
Yeah, you can't be in the movie industry and be cheap. Or you can, but you gotta go practical.
You gotta go practical.
You know?
And I understand why he's cheap, because like, hey, I'm trying to get this company back.
Also, that statement also explains why there's like a naked dating show on HBO.
Yeah.
That explains a lot. Because somebody had told me about that. They were like, yeah, it's a naked dating show. They judge you from the waist up or whatever. And I was like, this is on HBO? And yeah, that explains so much. That really does.
He's cheap, man. He wants affordable television.
Well, that's what Netflix does, right? They always have all these game shows and reality shows and documentaries. And then, you know, whatever good shows they have end up getting chopped in order to make like 10 of these things.
Well, yeah.
You know?
I mean, when they do come out with these different movies, they're not very expensive.
Yeah.
That's why they don't have no problem taking them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want to bring that in? Go right ahead.
Yeah.
That's why I was surprised to see David Fincher take The Killer to Netflix, like, because that's a movie theater quality movie from what I saw.
Yeah.
That was a really good movie, by the way. So I'm very surprised that he took that to Netflix, and that's gonna get buried in a couple of weeks on Netflix.
Yeah.
So
if it's not buried already.
Yeah, if it's not buried already. So yeah, you know, that part worries me about David Zaslav, and I did not like that he canceled Roadrunner. I did, and Wile E. Coyote versus Acme.
That's just also Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner are like one of your best bits.
It's one of the best.
It just
best bits.
It just doesn't. It doesn't add up.
If you were gonna cancel anything in that Space Jam, I'm being dead serious. I love LeBron James. That movie was not good.
Yeah.
If you were gonna cancel anything,
it was a really weird.
Yeah. It was. Well, you know what that movie was, right? That was just a whole commercial.
Yeah.
Because all you saw was Hanna-Barbera. You saw all these properties that Warner Brothers owned over the years.
Yeah.
That was all just one big hour and some minute of just commercial.
Yeah.
You know, at least with this movie, there's an actual idea that's being told. I'm pretty sure that's an actual story. And you had John Cena in there playing a lawyer. Yeah. Which John Cena, everyone loves John Cena.
Yeah, he's doing great at the moment.
Yeah, he's getting better and better.
Yeah.
And then you got Will Forte is in there. I'm not really big on Will Forte. But still, you had some real comedic chops in there.
Yeah.
And I really think it can work.
It has potential.
Yeah.
Hopefully it comes out somewhere, because I actually do want to see it.
Amazon, let's go. I should watch more of the material too, by the way. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's how I feel about the Acme and the Wile E. Coyote situation. I'm just somewhat worried about David Zaslav. Hopefully he can get this thing right. And James Gunn produced the movie too. I forgot about that. What? He produced that movie.
Oh, come on. That's your golden child.
Yeah, people were kind of giving them crap too on social media. They're like, so you don't care about David Zaslav canceling this movie? Yeah, he never said anything about it.
I don't know. But I mean, apparently this was enough to piss off a whole congressman.
That's what I'm saying. Like, well, it got a lot of traction from filmmakers, fans. Yeah. Everyone was upset. It was a signed petition to get this thing going. So,
I mean, look, you can take away Batgirl, but don't take away our Looney Tunes. Yeah.
I'm glad to see that people can rally around something so little, so tedious, and so less important. But I'm just glad to see that.
Hey, man.
But yeah, man. That's so. What else you got? You got anything else for me?
That's all I got. I'm spent.
You spent?
I'm spent.
Thanksgiving holiday got you, huh?
Yeah. It's been a busy couple of weeks, man.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, email us your thoughts at onthegopod2023@gmail.com. We'd love to know what you think about Madam Web or the Marvels or the Wile E. Coyote situation. We want to know. We want to hear from you. So just email us, or you contact us on our Instagram at onthego with Jacob and James. It's all one word. You can find me on Instagram at jacobdantone.audio, and you can find James at
James9794.
Yep. And don't forget to check that Q&A section of our podcast page so you can answer some of those questions like James mentioned at the beginning of the show. We'd love to just hear from you. So that's all I got. So I'm on the go. You're on the go. We're all on the go. See you guys.